This is day 155 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming share or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, it'd be very greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Yud Sif Yud Daled through Siman Kuf Yud Beis Sif Gimel. In Kuf Yud Daled, we are still talking about Tfilas Haderech. Klas Batur, Masha Enu Plus Havas B'Baruch, which Tfilas Haderech does not begin with the Baruch, as most brachas do. It's only a tefillah, it's not actually a bracha. That's why it's called Tfilas Haderech. Even the chasima, Baruch Hashem Shomei Tefillah, is only a chasima of when you have a Shemu Malchus at the beginning of the bracha. Here there's no Shemu Malchus at the beginning of the bracha, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. So therefore, the chasima, Baruch Hashem Shomei Tefillah, really does not make it a bracha. I don't think there really is an issue of bracha batola by Tfilas Haderech, although Arukh HaShulchan seems to indicate that there may well be. But certainly, if you go with the so then it would just tefillah. It's not like the brachos which we make before we had a pleasure. Look at brachos which we make because of an occasion. Bakashas racham is request for mercy. They should be since it has a lot of stuff in it. We end with a baruch to bring it all together. You know, the catch-all baruch, so to speak, of Shomei Tefillah. For Ram Ruthberg, she said that achar brichas hashachar. The Maram Ruberg said after Birchas L'Shachar, in other words, it's like kind of like a hit or mitzvah to attach it to another bracha, because then it becomes a brachas Milchaberta, which, in fact, we have in the sequence of Shemona Esrei, obviously, are considered to begin with Shem Malchus, because they all are following after Elokeinu Melech Haolam, which is the Shem Malchus of the first bracha of Shemona Esrei. In the series of brachas, we don't need to have Shem Malchus in every bracha, and they can still have chasima. So that way it would be Tia Brachos Milchavert, and this way you wouldn't have to, and it would be, so to speak, of a hitter. Ein Sham Melech Shul Omer Gam Brachos B'derech. And this is, the Arukh HaShulchan is assuming that he said the brachos when he's on the way, and then he said he added to Tfilas Haderech while he was he said the brachos as he was traveling. Even when you travel in the middle of the day, you can make it adjacent to another bracha. Kigon lechol to eat or lishtos or to drink davar. Drink to the bracha and make it adjacent to the bracha achroina. Or she yashkin, or you should urinate, and make it adjacent to ashiyatzer b'chacham eina barosho. A person will try and find the opportunity to make it smucha chaverta. The Mishnah Berurah says, if you can't do this, nevertheless, of course, you can still say Tfilas Haderech. I don't remember where I saw it. I thought it was in the Mishnah Berurah, but there's also a minute to say it, which I follow when I know I'm going on a road, to say it in Shemona Esrei as part of Shomei Tefillah. I must have gotten that from somewhere. I thought that was what the Maram Ruberg suggested, but that's not what it says in Arukh HaShulchan. I would have to look it up, but that is often what I do, since it's in Shomei Tefillah, to put it in Shomei Tefillah of Shemona Esrei. Tesvav, anyone who the parsa. You're only going to go parsa, which is 4 meal. 4 meal is 4 times 2,000 amos. According to Arukh HaShulchan's measure of 1.75 feet per amma, it comes out to approximately 4 kilometers, a little bit more. 4 kilometers would be actually amount of time it takes to walk about an hour. So a little bit more perhaps. Unless you're in a dangerous place, if you're going through what used to be the South Bronx, is always a shame dover for a dangerous place. So if you have, or Far Rockaway under the tracks, so then you can make a Tfilas Haderech when you are for the Makom Sakona. Does gam b'pachos mizayesh more than, even if it's a shorter distance, you can say it. Say somebody here. If you don't say immediately when you leave the city, you could say as long as you're on the road. Ach shelo yeh pachas mi parsa makashol till nu achsham, as long as it's not less than a parsa till the place you're going to go. Misham ech for there any omaros below bracha. Again, Arukh HaShulchan is chesed bracha batala at the end. I don't understand why, but he is. It's preferable to say it within the first parsa, and as he says here, parsu dalid meal, parsus for meal, midas midasena Russia. In our country, Russia, parsu dalid viristin, for versts, which is, again, as I said, about 4 kilometers. Hayotze there, he says, bracket said there, tov sheito shus mitam b'chacham sheb'ir. So he's going on a journey, should go and take his leave, so to speak, ask permission from Tam B'chacham the city. V'yomar lo, and the Tam B'chacham said to him, lech lishalom, and not lech bishalom. As lech bishalom is what David said of shalom, and he didn't end up in so much shalom. V'lo lech b'derech mumzonos. This is arresting the advice of Shulchan. Wherever you're going to take food, don't go below tefillin, a siddur, and a sefer limud. Food, tefillin, siddur, and a book from which to learn. The safe test zayin. Isa, it's Gemara. It's also based on well, shifting gears here, and it says when you come into base medrash, you say this is. You're in the beginning of some Gemaras. Yes, I'm not Hashem Elokai. Maybe you're well, that no stumbling blocks occur through me, won't stumble in a matter of halacha. There are 2 interpretations for this. One interpretation, which is given by the Rishonim, is that they should laugh at me. In other words, I shouldn't make a mistake, and my friends will laugh at me. Arukh is going to give a different shot. V'lo amar al tamei Torah, I shouldn't say something which is tamei that's Torah, but Torah tamei, not vice versa. V'lo yikashlu b'chaveirai b'dvar halacha, and they should, my friends should stumble b'dvar halacha, v'smach bohem, that in which case I'll have the schadenfreude of having them made a mistake. So the Arukh HaShulchan puts a spin on it. He says, "Klamar shehem yismechu," not that they're going to be sameach at my downfall and I downfall, but they're going to be happy when when they're going to when they're going to correct my mistake. And I will be happy when I correct their mistake. It's also when you leave on this is also language in the Siyum. I thank you, Kadosh Baruch Hu, me sitting among those who sit in Beis Medrash, and among those who sit in the corners. I rise and they arise. I rise to return, they arise for idle matters. I toil and they toil. I toil and receive reward. And they toil do not receive reward. I run and they run. I run to the world, to the life of the world to come. They run to the pit. I am Shom. People don't really say it. I think in yeshiva there are people who do say it. There was a period in which I used to say it, but only I think the bracha only the beginning. At the end, not really. But the Arukh HaShulchan gives a reason why we wouldn't do it. Because this really is about paskening and paskening correctly. And when we're learning, we're not actually normally paskening. We're sitting Beis Medrash and learning. This is the Mishnah Berurah who takes the shot which I gave originally, and he says, and we learned with Chabura, person has to make this request that that they shouldn't have schadenfreude, happiness in my downfall. And I should have happiness at their downfall. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan, he says, I should stop in the middle of the sentence, which was a mistake. So the people in the Beis Medrash are not pasking. And the rabbi who paskins, he says no. So there's no real point in which you can make this bracha. The reason I said in the morning, he said, "Ki Hashem yitain chachman b'piv das usvuna." You said in the pasuk, God will give knowledge from His mouth, wisdom and understanding. And Galei Nai, open my eyes, so I will see wonders in your Torah. You died on them. Even though somebody sitting on his own, befrakshu morel rose, especially if he's passing shilas. Kasu, they said, Shanach Yomar. He should proper him to say this following tefillah. Maybe your will, Kosh Baruch Hu, ta'ir einai b'mor torasecha. That you should illuminate my eyes in the light of the Torah. That same called mixture of those. Say if when he's stumbling back a mistake, Haim between Issa Heter, but it's Maz Yuratea, Haim between Momnas or Chashim Mishpat, Haim Bara, or Paskining, Haim Belimon, or learning. Gavli and I Vabita and he flows to the open my eyes so I will be able to see the wonders of the Torah. Mashi Shagisi Kvar, that which I made mistake in already. Midain LMS, put me on the path of truth. Tami Pidvar, MS, Talsami Pidvar, MS Adma'od. And do not curtail from me the word of truth, very much so. Because Baruch Hu gives knowledge from his mouth, wisdom and understanding. And it's Modim, you would say, if you're somebody who learns all day, you should say it every evening. Okay, I actually say every morning after Birchas HaShachar. Something which I saw, I don't remember which sitter, one about this year, but I don't remember which one. My intent is for now, kol prat per prat, on each and every detail, mi ma'asai, mi dibrai, machshvosai, from my deeds, from my speech, and from my thoughts. Lachriyas, that's me to balance myself, as kol yison, or Jewish people, kol and kulo, and the whole world, l'kaf. And then add on some to side of merit. And then I add on, b'chol pam she'azkir shem havaya kodesh she'b'ksivaso alav daled nun yud kriyaso yud kei vav kei kriyaso alav daled nun yud. Every time I mention the name of Kosh Baruch Hu, which is written yud kei vav kei and pronounced alav daled nun yud, and yichavein shu don't call have in mind that he's master of all. Shani mazkir shem Elokim, when I mention the name Elokim, and I have in mind shu takif, that he is strong, powerful. And the master of all forces, Ilos, causes the Siba, or called Sibos, and the reason for all reasons. It's not necessarily. Of course, the best thing is to remember this every time one says the Shem Hashem, and to remember throughout the day to do things for the sake of the betterment of oneself and the world. But at least say at the beginning, it's kind of like we have a tzitzis, you say L'Shem tzitzis at the beginning, and then maybe it all flows along with that. Okay, Kufirav, din smichas gula tefillah. To make gula and tefillah juxtapose. We have to be very careful in linking gula to tefillah. Anything Bengal Yisrael Shmoneser. Anybody who makes gula adjacent to tefillah, and only is not damaging the entire day. Immediately after redemption comes the prayer. So it'll be, when will be the Ratzon Imrei Fi, when I say first Hashem Tzuri Goli, right? Tzuri Yisrael and Gal Yisrael. I didn't realize before. Hashem Tzuri V'Gali, Tzur Yisrael, Gal Yisrael. That's mimicking the pasuk. Okay, live and learn, live and realize. But that's not actually what the Arukh HaShulchan says. Yerushalmi says the Hirotzon Refi Hashem Tzuri V'Gali. Yes, that's true, but not real enough from Hirotzon Imrefi if Shem Tzuri V'Gali, but rather the Samich, somewhat later, not immediately next pasuk, that says Yancha Hashem B'Yom Tzara. Hashem will answer you in a day of travail. Hayin Tefillah, so Gula and then Tefillah. The Kol Tochef of the Gula Tefillah. I think it's something later. Kol Tochef Tefillah. Anybody who puts together Gula and Tefillah, juxtaposes them. The Sultan does not prosecute that day. Anybody doesn't juxtapose them, like the friend or beloved of the king, who came and knocked on the door of the king. The king comes out to see what does he want. He finds that he's gone away. you invoke Kosh Baruch Hu's the Goel, and then you don't actually follow through. And then, of course, that's okay. So Afu Mafli Kosh Baruch Hu also, so to speak, leaves the premises. Base. The Klasa of a tour. To say Amen after Gal Yisrael is not an interruption. V'chein pasuk Rabbeinu Rama. Rabbeinu Beis Yosef pasak shelanos Amen after Gal Yisrael. He says you shouldn't say Amen. V'chein al pi Azor. V'chein noagim, and that is our minute. The Simon Samach Vav. Tafil Kaish Ukdusha Baruch Ein Lanos Ben Gula. Tefillah can't answer any Dvarim Ukdusha between Gula and Tefillah. Mamtim B'Shira Chadash. You wait slightly before Kamavur Hashem if they're about to say Kedusha. Kasam Batur. The two rights. Yesh Nogin Lamar Psukim Koden. They're psukim before you start. When I say before Hashem Svasai Tiftach. Chigon. This one we don't do. Shomer Tefillah Decha Kol B'Soyavo. You listen to davening. To you all flesh will come. And the next one, some people say, do say before Mincha and Musaf, Kishem Hashem Ekra Avukenu. When I call the name of God, give greatness to him. You should not say them. That they're an interruption. That phrase which we do say, may God open my lips and my mouth will say his praises. Lo have 6 interruption. They came to the Knu Rabbanon B'Tfilah, since Rabbanon added that to Shemona Esrei, Kigula Richtadami. It's like an extended Geula. In other words, I don't know if you call it Geula Richta or Tfilah Richta to be precise, but in other words, it's part of the teken, part of the protocol. Ava Musa Mincha Yuchal Markon B'Shem Sosai Im Yirtzeh V'lo Achakach. When I say Hashem Ekra by Musa B'Mincha, it's up to you. The Yakish said it's talking not printed, so I don't say it. Gimel. Because Rabbeinu Rama, the Yeshua, some say the heart, the tzarech is Magul Tefillah, that what you have to do is only Magul Tefillah, Zodafka B'chol V'yontev, Ava B'Shabbos ain't tzarech. It's only a weekday or Yontev, but not on, it's not necessarily on Shabbos. B'tov Achmir, it's best to be Machmir, in Moshe tzarech Lekach, unless you need to do so. I remember I learned this halacha for the first time when it's teaching a 10th grade shiur in MTA, and it was a revelation to me, and since then I've always had in mind to answer Amen once on Shabbos to Gal Yisrael, but have never had the guts to do it. But the reason is, Tam Dezu, the Kemi Afinan Zem Miyan Chobi Hashem Yom Tzara. Hashem is going to answer you in a day of travail. Shabbos Lav Yom Tzara. Shabbos not a day of travail. Yontif, but therefore you wouldn't say it on Shabbos. But on Yontif you would say it. Yontif Havikechol. Why? Mishum Dinonim Bo, because there are also the judgments which occur on the various different Yom Tovim. And on Perikam Rosh Hashanah, but Pesach, the Yom HaTzvua, on Pesach, judge on the grain, Batzeres, Apeos, Shavuos, Apeos Eilat, the Shavuos, you judge on the fruit. Chule, Avo Rabim Ugdolim, we scheme with the Rach Kol Yancha, Ein El Smach Lezeh. Many have agreed that this pasuk of Yancha is only a support, but not the actual source. Avos Michas Gula Litfila, juxtaposing Gula and Tefillah, Mikra Din Atfila. It's an intrinsic aspect of davening. Therefore, it applies even on Shabbos, whether it's Yom Tzor or not. And that is minhag. This is that's Arukh HaShulchan. Mishnah Berurah is much more meko. He paskins you're allowed to answer Ameish, even Ameish when I Rabbah, and Kedusha and Baruch Hu between Gula and Tefillah on Shabbos. So again, aspiration is not so valid according to that I had. It's not so valid according to Mishnah Berurah, Arukh HaShulchan, but it is valid according to the Mishnah Berurah. Okay, so Arukh HaShulchan finished as the Sifrak, but Arbis Kilum B'Shachris, by Arbis were more mako than by Shachris in terms of the Mitzvah Gul Tefillah, V'Yisbar Sin Reish Lam Bo, V'Siyat Tishmaya, and way later we'll get to it. Yirtzeh Hashem. Dalet Shlei Tzibur Shetzorech Lachzor V'Atfil Kol Ram. When the Shlei Tzibur has to repeat the Shemona Esrei Chazos Hashatz, Yomar Mikonim, we should say also before it starts Hashem Sosai Tiftach V'Gomer. The Mishnah Berurah says it's best to say it silently. The Briskers they say it's part of the Chefetz of Chazos Hashatz. Therefore, they specifically say it out loud. Arukh HaShulchan does not. It's not clear You could say since it says Shetzorach Latzor Tefillah B'Kol Ram, you don't require Hashem Tzedach as part of the Kol Ram, but I don't necessarily mean. I don't know that he necessarily meant that. And then he goes on, Begam Sovo, Yomar Belachashi Ratzon, and the Briskers also say Ratzon, if I recall correctly, out loud. V'afagav the Lomatina Isser B'Shatz Kshiavsik B'Tchil Lachash Tefillah B'Kol. Even though there's no prohibition for Shliach Tzibur to interrupt between his Silent Shemon and his Chazar Shashatz, nevertheless, Nachon Lo Shalafsik, it's proper not to interrupt. V'avshim Pasuk Lo Yomar, he shouldn't say any Pasuk, Zulas Hashem Svaslai V'Gomer. Okay, so he shouldn't talk, he shouldn't interrupt, he should wait till he can start the Chazar Shashatz with no interruption. Mishnah Berurah says actually that you can't say other psukim if you want, and nafkin of course to be for those who say Kishem Hashem Ekra before Hashem Sosai Tiftach. According to Arukh HaShulchan, they should not say it before Chazar Shashatz. According to the Mishnah Berurah, they can. If you before you read Shema, you found the tzibur davening, lo yispal elim mohem. You should not daven with them in order to el mispal seder. I guess somehow if you start davening, you would have to daven Shemona Esrei first, saying that respects to that. You don't have to do. Mispal seder, k'tei shisma gula tefillah. You daven in order, because smichas gula tefillah doesn't mean tefillah tzibur. So therefore, even you don't skip in the mornings. Smichas gula tefillah in order to do tefillah tzibur. So shakris abba arba seder king when she's bar b'sim reish lava b'siyata dishmaya. Kuf yud beis. Beis again we have to get to. Okay, shalev tzibur shosh achronos. Not to interrupt the first and last three brachas. Aleph. Afagav the brachas themselves yochel kolechol osib eza bakasha k'shir tzarich. Even in the middle brachas, anybody can add any request when they want. Shalosh yishonos, shalosh achronos, but the first and last three brachas also osib is forbidden to add. The yishonos dam is levet shmisaper shevel nei rabo. The first brachas are analogous to a slave who's saying over the praises of his master. Since you are saying over the praises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How can you interrupt with your own personal request? So to the last wish, you're giving thanks to your master. How can you interrupt with requests? But that's only requests of an individual. But the needs of the masses, that is permitted. Even though it's not a request in Yalav Yavo. Says Mechuba Rameim, we say that additions are says Mechuba, Zochen L'chaim, Bichamoka, Uksov, Sefer, V'chulei. Rosh Hashanah Kippur, Ma'arichim, Muvchein Tein Tach. We also, therefore, when Rosh Hashanah Kippur, we pack into our Kadosh extra paragraphs. That Tzibur Chavim and leaving the HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ma'od. Because the Tzibur is very precious before Hashem. Lahem need not Rishus Laftik, and they're given permission to interrupt. Below the Achid, not to an individual. Kasar Bein says the Elamar Piyutim V'lo Kroivets. You shouldn't say liturgical poems. And Kroivets is Rosh Tevos, called Rina v'Yeshua b'Holei Tzadikim, which is the special piyutim for Purim. V'lo davenim yamash tiknu anshin against Agdol b'chan hani shechashavnu, and they're not similar to what anshin against Agdol added on, such as Zochen L'chaim, etc., because Shekochem Yafeh, he had a lot more authority than we do. But Rabbeinu Malka said yesh matirin. Most says some people are not to say piyutim. All the tzarchei rabbim since they're for the needs of the masses. Chinogim chamachalamam ad kan l'shona, and every place is saying the chen a minhag pashut, and that is the minhag which has extended. Ve'ein l'shanos, and we don't deviate. Krakosam l'simen samaches. I don't remember this. She'echem minhaglan bito piyutim minkaima. One of the great people. Stopped the same piyutim in his place, Velotzi Shnoso, and he did not finish his year. Died that year. So, nowadays in yeshivas, there are no piyutim, almost no piyutim recited. Certainly, other than Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, no piyutim recited at all. And I believe that is attributed to the Gra, that the Gra held that the piyutim are not essential, and probably, this from memory, I might be wrong, probably, and are actually not, since they weren't written by Chazal, they're should not be included in davening. Okay, that's my recollection. Base. Armin Megillah tells in Masechta Megillah, Mea of Esrim, Skanim, 120 elders of Kam Levim, and some prophets among them. Tiknu Shmonaseh brachos al Seder. They made the 18 brachos in order. But Yisa Bagada, Maya al Seder. When Agada says, what does it mean in order? Is this Seder Olam? This is the order of the world. Shiyud Ches brachos. These tefillah. The 18 brothers here were always put in this order. I'm sorry. They were enacted one after another in different time spans. The time epics, different eras. But when Anshe came, they collated them and embellished them. When Avram is saved from the fiery furnace, Paschal Malach and Avram. First bracha was instituted, the shield of Abraham. When Yitzchak was placed on that Kedah, and from the Malach's perspective, he was killed. From the Malach's perspective, the ashes of Yitzchak are on the Mizbeach, Arukh HaShulchan. So it's Arukh HaShulchan when he came back to life. When Yaakov came and held the gates of mercy, and sanctified the name of God, Amru Akel HaKadosh. That's when they added Akel HaKadosh. When Gabriel taught Yosef 70 languages, they started to Chanei Das. Reuben Shab B'tshuva, B'maisa Bila, when Reuben did tshuva on mixing up his father's bed, Amru wrote to B'tshuva. That bracha. Shasi Yehuda Maisa Tamar, when Yehuda condemned Tamar, Amar said, take her out to be burned. And then he said, many she was more righteous than me. And the sin was forgiven. The rest, God is the one who was gracious and gives much forgiveness. Hashem said to the Jews and English, I will redeem you. They said next bracha, go Yisrael. Kshipe father was Avram when this is the first one, which is not chronologically in order. We're going back. Now we completed one round from Avram to Moshe, and now we're going back to now we're going back to the beginning. Avram, when Rafal healed Avram Avinu, Amru, they said Rafal Amo Yisrael. Yitzchak, when Yitzchak planted Matzah Me'er Sharm and found 100-fold in the crop, Amru Mevarach Hashanim. They said next bracha. When the Shvatim came together with Yosef and Yaakov Mitzrayim, they said God ingathers the scattered of Israel. Hashem said to Moshe, these are the laws. They said, the God who loves righteousness and justice. When the Egyptians drowned at Yam Suf, they said, God breaks the enemies and subjugates the wicked ones. Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is interesting because Lamal Shinim, actually we know, is a later takana from Shmuel, from the base of Shmuel HaKatan. So, so it seems like these are the Sagaritza either argues in that, or it's an Agaritza and it's like an Asmachta, not to be taken literally, but could be also with Ruach HaKodesh. They put these things in this order, but then Shmuel still doesn't answer about Shmuel HaKatan. Okay. Shama Yaakov, Hashem said to Yaakov, Yosef Yoshis Yodol Einecha, Yosef's going to put his hands on your eyes. Pardon this kind of Yaakov, and then was fulfilled. Yaakov Batachal Dvar, and Yaakov trusted him. Alma they say Mishan Bitochla Tzadikim. He's the solids for the Tzadikim. Shebana Hashem Beis Hamikdash, Amr Bnei Yerushalayim. Hashem built Beis Hamikdash, Hashem constructs Yerushalayim. Hashem Yisrael B'Yam Suf. Okay, going out of order. Avar Shira, and they said the praises Amr Matzmiah carrying Yeshua. Hashem causes to rise the horn of salvation. Shenanchu Yisrael V'Zachu V'Shem Hashem Nakosam. Going further back in the history, when they groaned and Hashem heard their crying, Amru Shemei Tefillah. That's when that corresponds to Shemini Tefillah. Kshor Shechina by Mishkan, when the Shechina came to the Mishkan, they said, Omer Machazir Shechina Sotzion. Hashem restored the Shechina to Zion. She Shlomo Aaron, when Shlomo brought the Aaron into the new Beis Hamikdash. The Nana, and he was answered. When he gave praise, we gave thanks. Omer, they said, Tov Shim Chol Chana Ados. Your name is good, and it's good to give thanks to you. Shechina Yisrael La'aretz Yiskayim Lahem. Aside the Shalom Baretz, when the Jews enter the land and it was fulfilled them, I will give peace in the land. Amru, they said, Amreches Hamo Yisrael Ba'Shalom. That Hashem blesses his nation Israel in peace.